Pork chops are great. Everyone loves them, but sometimes they can be a bit boring. What if we could make them extra special? Well, we can, with cheese. Adding a cheesy coating makes them crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside. This recipe is easy to follow, even if you're new to cooking. Let's get cheesy. First, we need some things from the shop. Let's start by making a list of all the ingredients we'll need for this delicious recipe. It's always a good idea to be prepared before you start cooking. This way, you won't have to run back to the store in the middle of your cooking session. Don't worry, it's a short list. We want to keep things simple and straightforward. This recipe is all about maximizing flavor with minimal ingredients. So let's take a look at what we need. You'll need about 4 pork chops depending on how hungry you are. Make sure to choose fresh, high-quality pork chops for the best results. If you're cooking for a larger group, you can always adjust the quantity accordingly. Cheddar cheese is great, but you can use your favorite. Whether it's mozzarella, Gouda, or even a spicy pepper jack, the choice is yours. The cheese will add a rich, creamy texture to our dish. We'll use a couple of eggs to help the cheese stick. Eggs are a fantastic binding agent and will ensure that our cheese adheres perfectly to the pork chops. Plus, they add a bit of extra protein to the meal. Flour helps make the coating nice and crispy. Breadcrumbs add extra crunch. The combination of flour and breadcrumbs will give our pork chops a delightful texture that contrasts beautifully with the tender meat inside. And don't forget salt and pepper to make the flavors pop. Seasoning is key to bringing out the natural flavors of the pork and cheese. A little bit of salt and pepper goes a long way. Remember, you can always add other spices you like too. Feel free to get creative with your seasoning. Paprika, garlic powder, or even a touch of cayenne pepper can add an extra layer of flavor to your dish. The goal is to make it your own and enjoy the process. Before we start cooking, let's get everything ready. First, wash your hands. Clean hands are essential for maintaining hygiene in the kitchen. Make sure to scrub thoroughly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. This step is crucial to avoid any contamination. We don't want any cheesy germs. Once your hands are clean, dry them with a clean towel or paper towel. Now let's move on to gathering our ingredients and tools. Now grab a big bowl. This will be used for mixing our ingredients. A large bowl gives you plenty of space to combine everything without making a mess. Crack the eggs into the bowl and whisk them up. Whisking the eggs thoroughly ensures they are well combined, which is important for the texture of our dish. Make sure there are no lumps. Put the flour in one shallow dish, the breadcrumbs in another. These will be used for coating our ingredients. The flour helps the breadcrumbs stick better, giving a nice crispy texture. Now comes the fun part, the cheese. Choose a good quality cheddar for the best flavor. The cheese will add a rich, creamy taste to our dish. Grate the cheese into a separate dish. Grating the cheese finely will help it melt evenly and blend well with the other ingredients. The more cheese, the cheesier the chops. Don't be afraid to be generous with the cheese. It's the star of the dish after all. Now that we have everything prepped, we're ready to start cooking. Section 4. The Frying Pan Tango. Welcome to a culinary dance where every move counts, and the rhythm of the kitchen sets the pace. Time to turn up the heat. Start by setting your stove to medium-high. This ensures that your pan gets hot enough to sear the meat perfectly, locking in all those delicious juices. Get your frying pan nice and hot. Add a little oil. Use a high smoke point oil like canola or vegetable oil to prevent burning. Swirl it around to coat the bottom evenly. Now take a pork chop and dip it in the flour, then the egg, then the breadcrumbs. This triple coating ensures a crispy golden crust that will make every bite a delight. Make sure it's fully coated. Press the breadcrumbs firmly onto the meat to ensure they stick well during frying. Carefully place the pork chop in the hot pan. Listen to that sizzle. It's the sound of flavor being locked in. Cook for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side until golden brown. Use tongs to flip the pork chop gently, ensuring an even cook. Once both sides are cooked, check the internal temperature. It should reach at least 145 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure it's safe to eat. Sprinkle a generous amount of cheese on top. Choose a cheese that melts well, like mozzarella or cheddar, to add a creamy, rich layer of flavor. Put a lid on the pan and let the cheese melt for a minute or two. This final step ensures the cheese is perfectly gooey and melds beautifully with the crispy pork chop. And there you have it. Carefully lift the cheesy pork chop out of the pan and onto a plate. Repeat with the other chops. You can serve these cheesy delights with anything you like. Mashed potatoes, salad, or even just a nice piece of bread. Your family and friends will be so impressed with your cooking skills. This recipe is a guaranteed crowd pleaser. Enjoy!